Alright, mic's working. Maestro? Maestro. Voice bot is not working. Let's see if I can get him working. Patience with me. It's been a little bit, folks. Might have forgotten how to do this. That's good. Stand by. Check. Yeah, see, it's looking through the wrong mic, for one. Check. Check, check, check. Tracker check. Okay, cool. It sees it now. Alright. Skip track. God, I might have completely forgotten how to do this. Skip track. Skip track. There it goes. There you go. Alright. Does work. Well, that'll just turn it back on. One sec. Oh, that worked. Alright. Oh, it's been a while, folks. Hope you're doing well. I'm Cody. IronVerse Comics. We're doing, after almost a 2-week break, another coffee coding account. When I sent out the stream, the coffee got cold. And it's chunky. It's bad coffee.
Rakage Lord 1 said,
Some bad coffee.
Sup, Cody.
Not too much, brother. Thank you for stopping on in. Oh, I'm beat. That's how it goes. I was hoping the coffee would work, man. It's cold coffee now, and I have to get up and go work. It's just a disaster. The whole thing's a disaster. No, we gotta work, and I'm here. Okay, so I titled this things, right? What did I title? Long break, yes. It's been a while. I did do a stream last week with the wonderful Armin Nassim. It's linked through the Patreon. It's also been linked through my social media and stuff. Some wonderful creators I chatted with. Had a great time. Very recommend checking out that stream. But besides that, it's been nearly a couple weeks since I've been on. Before that, it was like a week. Or, yeah. Sometimes I'm able to stream a couple times a week. Sometimes I can't do it. I've been more consistent than when I started. When I started, sometimes it would be like 3 months breaks.
Said, I was there.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. Right on. Stop audio's good, so you guys can hear yourselves. Music. It's fine. It's playing twice. No, I'm just crazy. Again, I think I forgot how to do all. That mic, please. Go away. Thank you. There you go. All right. So, other than that, I got a little bit long break, a lot of reading. Then we're gonna talk about what I've been reading. And then we're gonna talk about the new gig I got, which is kind of fun. Damn it. I gotta go warm up. I need coffee. I'm gonna be just so lethargic without a little bit of caffeine in the system. So, please stand by. No, you're not gonna work? Please stand by.
Rakage Lord 1 said, Go a bead.
All right, got my coffee. Took about a minute. Apologies, but it's kind of a necessary thing. Most of these streams, it's a necessary thing. Need some energy. All right. So, long break. Been busy. I'm needing to kind of pivot back to streaming, though, a bit. Helps me focus on certain aspects of the comic work I need to do. Particularly, I'd like to get to the sketch cards here this week. I'd like to get a couple of them done. We haven't gotten most of the requests in for them, so I've been kind of waiting, but I'd like to knock out one or two of those this week just to kind of rip that, I guess, to just dive into the deep water and get it going, see if I can swim right. Otherwise, got a pet snake. Saved a pet snake. Still figuring out the critter's not adjusting all that well to its environment, so I'm trying to figure out if I want to just let it loose again or not. Bull snake, very cool stuff.
Scott K.
Howdy, Scott. Welcome,
said,
welcome.
Howdy.
Been diving into the reading part of this. We'll get deeper into it. So I'm trying to learn. It's one of the main things I do with reading these days. I've been trying to figure out what I really enjoy, what makes these stories important to me, what makes their presentation and flow something I admire, enjoy, and can lose myself in for hours. Yesterday, I read 10 volumes of Berserk, 11 volumes. No, 10 because this one I'm right at the beginning. And it had been a while. I realized I can read Berserk and love it with a shot or two in me. If I try and read it as I read a lot of other stuff, it can really weigh down on me significantly. But if I don't do that, I don't know. There's something just incredible about this work. So I'm on volume 29 on my second read through of Berserk. I think the last read through I got to volume 36. And I've got up to volume 40 now. So I'm excited to get to new material, even though a lot of it is just going to be them on the boat, which was the longest period. But then at volume 40, I'm going to be just about caught up. New volume 41 releases in November, which is Miura's last. So I'm going to want to read that, and then with his assistants continuing the series, I'm kind of cautiously excited to see Berserk conclude in some form besides just Miura passing, right? Kind of excited for that. So anywho, even with something so heavy and scenes that are exceedingly dark and gruesome in some of the worst imaginable ways,
Readin Lord
that
1
is very, very heavy.
Said, same.
There's something really special about Berserk and how it decides to tackle things. Most of the manga I read, I've been reading manga. The last Western comic I remember reading, at least last Western graphic novel I remember reading, was Tuki Volume 2. And I spoke about that in depth, I don't know, a stream or two ago. And it felt like he had a much larger and longer story to tell, but decided that it just wasn't working for him, so he ended it quicker. And you could feel that, and it sucked. Tuki didn't suck overall, the story's fine, it's just it feels like it was just hitting the next stage of the adventure, but that next stage of the adventure was the end. It just finishes, there's no there's not even a big old here are they now in the end to appreciate the victory. It's just boom, last page. And then I did a review of Elixir. That was an interesting piece. Watch the IronVerse Quickie on that if you're interested in that. That was a Western indie release. Of course, I did that wonderful panel with Armin Nassim on his channel, Submarine Treehouse. I've linked that in the socials and stuff. If folks actually are that interested, I'm happy to link it here. Just let me know in the comments. And he made the exact... So I really like Armin for a lot of different reasons. Super hyped. He loves his work. He's very sociable. He loves talking to folks. He's very good at presenting his work and showing his passion for comics. So that's why I got it. And so I read it, and it was the most staccato, machine gun fire kind of read as possible. And what he did, which was kind of neat, I think was just kind of a swing, which was a good way to handle a swing, is he took quotes from my review, and he kind of took them out of context so they sound really good. He did that to me personally, which I think was a good way to do it and have fun with it. And I could tell that he understood what I really meant by it, but he's taking them and using it positively, which I think is a really cool thing. Especially when you're not doing it to jab at the person who said it, you're just doing it because it's kind of a cool thing to do, and it helps with selling your work, right? I don't know. I like how he handled it, but that's one of the main lessons I've been learning through all these series, and I really like that was a prime example for me to talk about one of the lessons I've been consistently learning, which is pacing. Very hard read, Elixir, with that staccato gunfire fucking feel to it, but manga, again, it's usually 3 to 6 panels. There are some 7, some 8. Sometimes they'll do up to 13, but usually that is a compilation of reactions to a big event that just happened, or is a montage. It's supposed to be conveying a lot of ideas. But anyway, I've been trying to, with these reads, and we'll go through them. Berserk I talked about a little bit. I've been trying to figure out like what I really want to do with my work. There's not much time. There never is. You're never guaranteed another breath, right? It's likely to happen. The sun usually comes up the next day, but you kind of got to respect that angle of the journey as well. And with the new gig and a few other things, I'm trying to find my groove, what I really want to do that'll be fulfilling for myself as what I need to do with my art and my work, at the same time doing the mission that I kind of feel like part of why I'm here at all, and making sure that that's fulfilled, and then doing it in a way that presents craftsmanship of a level that is competitive with anything out there. That's important to me. I don't care if it doesn't get noticed. Like, I don't care if the craftsmanship isn't noticed highly. If I can feel and have noticed my own personal growth in the writing and pacing, alongside the wonderful art team we've had over the next few expressions of it, including issue 4, then, you know, I'm doing my job. That's what I need, right? I may not have the time to pull off a One Piece, to pull off a Berserk, but I do have the time I have, and I would like to put out something quite credible. Again, if not to compete with other wonderful, incredible works on terms of finances or awareness or such, to compete on it in terms of craftsmanship. That's 100% within my control. Success and craftsmanship slightly go hand in hand, but not always. And so I'm happy to lean on the part of it that I understand and can personally invest myself into, right? So that's been what I'm trying to figure out.
Said, I'm happy with 6 or 12 issues.
So the plan right now is 6 issues. It might end with issue 4. I'm thinking I'm going to try very, very hard. It's part of what this new gig kind of feeds into as well. I'm going to try very, very hard to make it worth it to do 6 issues before I transition into something a bit more. That would still involve the say. So it would be a continuation series, what you'd call it, but it would be quite an evolution from what I was and have been trying to accomplish with Jack. I'd say Jack is me learning to swim. I'm hoping by issue 6, then I can present something that is, again, a bit more. And so again, on that journey, especially over the last few weeks, I've just been reading like crazy. Last couple of months, I guess it's been at this point. Just been reading like crazy. Trying to ingest and glean as much as I can from masters that have come before me, right? And so I guess that's the best transitionary point. We talked a little bit of why the break. It's been a lot of reading. It's been studying. I had some fun. I also started God of War. Never played God of War. The reboot, I guess is what you call it. The continuation reboot. God of War Viking. Since that came out on PC. Oh man, the storytelling in that is beautiful. Graphically, it's really nice. The patriarchal relationship is incredible. I'm very impressed with it. So I've put like 10, 12 hours into that as well. I'm not even close to like finishing it, but I really had a lot of fun with that. So it's been reading a little bit of that. That's kind of been it. I don't even think I've been, I watch random YouTube stuff. But,
EX8
yeah.
said, do you learn more from reading comics or from non-picture books?
This is great. So that's a great question. So you want both. And more is relative based upon what you want to use the knowledge for, what your goal is in achieving that knowledge, right? So for me, since I'm working in comics, I learn more,
Scott
I believe,
K.
from comics.
Said, been playing Naraka since it came out on Xbox.
Not familiar with that, Scott. But okay, so I've also, like, Stephen King's on Writing. I fucking adore. I recommend anybody read that if you want some inspiration. And kind of just basic notes on writing, just basic ideas of how he's gotten to where he was and how he connected with an audience, right? And he doesn't focus on horror, even though that's what he focuses on. As a writer, he focuses on the technical skills that allow him to have his horror connect with people. So I totally recommend that. Rebel Without a Crew. If you need inspiration on just carving out your own path in art, fucking A, Robert Rodriguez's story. Basically, it's his published notes from creating El Mariachi and it becoming an indie darling, and then him using and leveraging that and learning and bringing his indie techniques into Hollywood. Fucking incredible. I really recommend Rebel Without a Crew. It is insanely inspirational on what one person can do to make their dream achieve in an environment like Hollywood, right? Totally recommend that. There's a few like books you should check out. If you're writing prose, though, if you're writing short stories, things like that, that's just word, then you should probably read a lot more regular books, because finding that rhythm is very different than finding the rhythm between illustration and written word. It's very different. Again, it depends on what your goals are. I think each medium has something to teach the writer in general. I think a lot of people, especially like script writers and screenwriters, could learn from comics and comic writing. But again, it depends on what you're going for, right? Find what you love, figure out why you love it, and if there's books on it, if there's tales told from it, study. Just find what you can with it. But those are two reading recommendations I can very much recommend any writer to check out. It's Stephen King's on Writing and
EX8
Rebel Without a Crew from
said,
Robert Rodriguez.
interesting. Thanks.
If you're looking for comics in particular, some people really don't like Scott McCloud's understanding comics and making comics, but I highly recommend them. Particularly understanding comics. I really loved his approach to how he presented that. And then I read a thing from Alan Moore. I forgot what it's called, but it was one of the few writing, like, little mini books he wrote when he was actually like part of comics and enjoyed making comics. And it was good too. But it just depends again on what your goal is. Really does. But yeah, so okay, I was talking about Berserk. So we saw that. I'm on volume 29. I finished the Conviction arc. I'm starting the Millennium Falcon arc or whatever it's called. What is it called? They're on their way to get to the boat that I'm going to be stuck on for a while. um, and Berserk has finally, by about volume 20, it came into its, like, it had come into its own before that. The Golden Age arc is one of the best expressions of sequential artistry put to paper. But it didn't have, it was very different than the Black Swordsman arc. It wasn't cohesive. By the time it hits the end of the Eclipse, we finish the Golden Age arc, and then we hit the Conviction arc. Berserk has come into its own. It knows what it is, it knows what it wants to do, and it knows how to tell it, and it's at the point where it just wants to refine that. And I've just been incredibly blown away how he can put the level of comedy he puts into it to help digest the absolute beyond horror show that is consistently depicted, and it doesn't, and the comedy doesn't feel unnatural. It doesn't feel like shoehorned in to lighten it up. It feels like part of the storytelling, which again is very impressive because a lot of people will put in their comic relief character, right? In this case, it's Puck, the elf, but through the Black Swordsman arc, through the Conviction arc, Puck becomes something unbelievably integral to what he's doing. It's just so damn impressive. If you can stomach what Berserk puts through, then I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of the greatest pieces of sequential art like put to paper. Particularly the Golden Age arc, but you should definitely read the Black Swordsman arc so you get an idea of what Miura was trying to learn. Then the other thing, which I was reading, I took a big break from Berserk. I got up to the Conviction arc. I read through all that, and then I just had to breathe. And I couldn't read any more Berserk for, God, it was like a month. But then, again, yesterday and a couple days before, I've read about 12 volumes now. This is what I was reading, though. This is what I was reading before that. And holy hell, One Piece is amazing. So, it starts kind of slow but fun. And I remember, so I had watched the anime first. It's kind of, One Piece is a bitch to collect because how many goddamn chapters it is. It's not, and recently with the paper shortages, manga publishers have been triaging what they print. And One Piece was kind of put, at least the older volumes of One Piece were put on the back burner, right? It makes sense. They want to print the new hot books to sell and, stay afloat during a very difficult time for any business. And so it was particularly difficult to get into One Piece collecting relatively recently. But anywho, these blue arc's fine. It introduces the characters, the ideas. You have some fun, and you get to meet Roronoa, Zoro, right? You get to meet Luffy, of course. You get Nami, right? You go through that. But what I remember, the moments I remember clearest are Nico Robin's moments in the Water 7 arc. But I had forgotten, which was nice, how well she was built up throughout the oh god, what's that arc called? Oh, it's gonna bug me. It was Crocodile's arc. Alabasta is the country, but I don't remember what the arc's called. But that's the arc that One Piece comes into its own. When he's fighting Crocodile and the what do they call them? They're all named after numbers. I'm forgetting so much of it. But nonetheless, One Piece has made me laugh. It's made me cry. It's made me feel just wonderful joy. Oda knows how to take time and celebrate a victory in a book, which you don't come across much. Like Berserk, the victories are so struggling. I mean, nicknamed the Struggler, that there's no time to breathe in between victories, really. It's just like victory, but you're still fighting this big fight. It's not over. You just feel good that evil was slain, right? One Piece, they take time, they revel, they party. You usually get at least one chapter that's just them enjoying their victory. And there was something really neat about that. Because like in a lot of stories, long form stories I've read, it's in such a hurry to move on to the next threat. They're worried that the reader will lose interest if these people act like people and actually enjoy their movement forward. But anywho, I had read up to, again, I'm on volume 47 or so. I had read up to Water 7, again, the end of Water 7 arc, which is kind of Nico Robin joining the crew fully. There's a lot of other stuff I don't want to really spoil in case you're going to read it, because it's really cool. But their delivery by the end of that on found family and the ability to, the willingness and desire to challenge the world, if that's what it means to stay together and to be themselves, is an amazing thesis for a piece of work. And how Oda's able to present it, he can keep you laughing, how he's able to use ongoing gags but keep them interesting and fun. If you can, so Berserk, it's the stomach. You have to be able to stomach it, and then you can get the gold. With One Piece, you have to be able to stomach his art style. For me, like when I was a little kid, his art style would have just scared the shit out of me. Oda's. It's just too batshit insane. Some kids will jump right on that though, right? So that's the bit. But for me as an adult, when I'm looking through the character designs, he's very, very specific about the insanity he's able to convey through his character designs being grounded in their personalities. It's just so well done. And by doing that, his work is endlessly visually stimulating and exciting. I think that is one of his best accomplishments, besides just telling a wonderful adventure story for over 1,000 chapters now. Just insane. I'm hoping to catch up on One Piece before volume 100 releases in English, I think in a month or two, but I might not be able to. I'm waiting on volume 48, so I'm stuck. I have many other volumes after volume 48, but my volume 48's taken very long to get here, so I can continue the story. Right now I'm on Thriller Bark, which is like his horror spin-off kind of tale. He just wanted to put them on a ghoul island and have fun with zombies and stuff like that. It's fun. Again, good characters, good build-up. Recruiting Frankie, who, I mean, he builds these outlandish characters that just look batshit nuts, and then he is able to make you adore them from the smallest side character to the most important of the main crew. His skill is impeccable on making characters feel alive and lived in, and just all these amazing other bits of it, right? That is just an incredible skill. So yeah, One Piece and Berserk have been the two that I've been like most trying to study recently. But I've got a couple other things I've been going through. Been reading this for a while now, and I took another good break on it because it can be, I don't know, it's not as stimulating as One Piece or Berserk. Inuyasha. I'm on volume, let's see, there's about 3, so like volume 34 or something. Beautiful, soft, gentle, yet often very horrifying artwork. Lighter comedy than both Berserk and One Piece, which is funny for me to say. Most of it's simple slapstick, somebody doing something stupid, getting hit for it. Little things like that. The characters are, of course, lovable. She decided to focus on basically 4 or 5 main characters to build and interact with, and then you have your villain cast. I finally hit a part in the manga that was not in the anime, which is nice because I grew up on the anime. I've probably seen that quite a few times, so it was nice to hit new content. But it's not that stimulating. It's very throughout the chapters, it's become more and more almost villain of the week. It's still a journey, but it's got that villain of the week feel to it, which is, it can be really good, it can be really bad. In this case, it's meh. It's not ruining it, but it isn't like dragging me in. So I haven't been tearing through that. One Piece will build a villain up. It'll have minions. And then basically the whole arc, you'll be learning about like why they're in that position, why they're evil, each of their individual personalities and why they're like they are. And then by the end of it, Luffy beats them by sheer willpower, right? Basically, and his skill. But you go through and you feel more for the villains. In this, of course, in Inuyasha, they're very much just demons. Like I don't need my villains to be likable, but I do really enjoy them being understandable. And Inuyasha, they're just demons, so she never really felt much of a need to give them much substance besides they're evil because they are evil. They're a manifestation of evil. So that's all they need to be, right? Naraku, she had built up to be kind of evil for evil's sake, and there's very little tragedy in him. Onigumo, the human, the half of Naraku, he has a little bit to him, but even then, it's still very much he was just a bad dude who somebody took pity on, and he just got worse. So it's not that much of a carrot on a stick. One Piece will put you'll have bad guys for bad guys' sakes, like the main bad guy in here right now, who cuts people's shadows off, which kind of takes part of their soul, and he can put that into zombies to resurrect them. Resurrect the people whose shadows he cut off, basically their soul and their spirit, into another body so he can control and manifest them. Oh, he's a pure piece of shit. He is just evil for evil's sake. He's one of the 7 warlords of the sea. Another thing with One Piece is the government is against you. So I'm always a big fan of ongoing stories that are like, yeah, these things, just because they say they are good, they don't mean they're good. That's one of One Piece's other really good accomplishments. It's like, not everybody's going to be bad in there, but you go up to the top. That's basically how he presents it. I love it. So it's tough. Her artwork is so flowy and gentle, though. It's beautiful to look at. The pacing is extreme. I've never felt bogged down in Inuyasha. Never. Berserk, I felt bogged down only a couple times, but even then, he's really good at justifying why he bogs you down. One Piece, I've never felt bogged down. Not once. It's just fucking whack, 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 whack. Just entertainment. I love it. But it's not as, I'm not going to say not as heartfelt. It's very heartfelt. It's just its joviality. It's fun. Can make the messages that he inserts in there less prevalent than what Miura did with Berserk. Miura is willing to hit you with that iron sword of what he's trying to say, that big blunt object. He's just very straightforward about what he's trying to accomplish. Oda, he's like, oh, let's have a good time together. Miura's like, I have something to tell you, and I need you to listen. So it's a very different approach, and both handle it just spectacularly. And Inuyasha, she didn't have much to say. She just wanted to tell a story. There's no big, deep anything with Inuyasha. It's just a slight romance, high school feel on top of this fantasy horror. And it's beautifully executed, but out of what I've been reading lately, it's been my least favorite. But it's still, God, better than any Western comic thing I've read in a while. And then the last thing I read. And this one I tore through in about a day. I've been doing that with every one of these volumes, and it bothers me because they take a while to come out. Fist of the North Star, Volume 5. So, Fist of the North Star. Batshit nuts. No, sorry, I dropped things. I want to pick them up. I was talking about Miura being very straightforward with what he's trying to say, very honest and direct. Again, very blunt. Very much like the Dragon Slayer. Fist of the North Star is very much the same, except it has no greater meaning. Its entire purpose, Fist of the North Star's entire purpose, is power fantasy. It has not like Berserk. There's a lot of power fantasy in here. In that it's one man, and he's literally just. It calls it out again and again that this man is standing against these monsters and how like impossible that should be. Fist of the North Star does that too, but again, it doesn't. It has no greater meaning to this. It's like reading The Punisher. It reminds me a lot of that, where it's just like this evil needs to die. Again and again. Fist of the North Star has this continuous trope. Well, build this guy up and he'll get stronger and stronger. And then they continuously, when they're fighting Kintaro, continuous is like, oh my god, he withstood that. Oh my god. So you know Ken's never gonna lose. He loses once in this volume. So in the first 5 volumes of this, which is God, like, what would that be? That would be like almost 2,000 pages. He lost once. And just at the very end of this. There's only 2 more of these volumes coming out. So this volume built up the final bad guy. So the next 2 volumes are going to be defeating him. But if you want just random crazy gore power fantasy, like, this will do it without trying to bludgeon you over the head with ideals, which Berserk does. I like that Berserk does that. Some people might not. Again, Berserk also goes much darker in imagery and in depictions of violence and just the worst out there. Fist does not do that. Fist does not do it.
EX8 said, "Thought balloons, when is it appropriate to use it?"
Different schools of thought on that. I rarely use them, but like I was just talking about Berserk. So Berserk even does it in a weird way, like their designs of their thought balloons are very different. And then they'll write it in italic, so you know that it's a thought balloon, because they do like a 6-pointed star instead of a classic like thought balloon, right? Either way. It really depends. Do you need to show some interior insight of a character? Then sometimes the only tool is that, unless you're using a narration-based framing device. With Jack Irons, I use a narration-based narration device, or framing device, excuse me. And so that allows him in the future to comment on his past, which allows that interior insight that a thought balloon can also accomplish. But a thought balloon, like, I wouldn't want to read a comic that's just thought balloons. Could that be done? Yeah. Could it be done well? Probably. With a lot of skill, I think anything could be done well. But I wouldn't recommend too often, unless, again, you really need to give interior insight. And usually that interior insight on a character doesn't need to be a lot, right? You don't need to actually put a huge interior monologue. You just need a line that is commenting on what's happening,
Submarine
or
Treehouse
how they think, right?
said, "Code, ice."
Yo, Armin, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. Just finished talking about what I've been reading, which is a shit ton of manga. I must have read like 100 volumes of manga in the last. I got no month. Just trying to figure out my next step, and how I want to do it that honors what I love and what I need to do with this work. Because what I need to do has been done by others. That being said, the reason why it's been done by others is because it continuously needs to be done. And so I need to refine the craftsmanship to be able to be worthy of walking those same steps. Anywho, so yeah, that's what I've been doing. Thought balloons, that's my thoughts on them. Rare, sparingly, unless you've got a damn good reason, because you don't need much written word to give insight to characters. Usually action is much better at giving that insight. But, you know, it depends on what kind of book. If you're not doing an action-based book, you're doing, like, let's say you're doing 32 pages in a coffee shop. You can make that super interesting between the dialogue and the memories and how they're thinking of each other during, let's say it's a date, for instance. You could have thought balloons for that to communicate, you know, what they're thinking about each other. It could be very duplicitous, right? Like they could be thinking one thing, saying another, then that person's reacting to it, and then thinking another thing. Like, you could do a lot of really cool stuff with thought balloons. EX, again, it's mainly determining what tool, when, and most importantly, why. If you're doing something just because it sounds cool to you, great. This is comics, do it. But you may find that's not always the most effective choice to communicate whatever you're trying to communicate. And too many thought balloons could very well work against you. Coffee. Coffee's almost hit. Okay, so that was the Lotta reading. I've got a few more things on the list now. Go 13, which is the Japanese James Bond manga, basically. Just much edgier. I'm going to be checking that out soon. The mangaka for that passed recently, sadly. I've got one volume of it, but it's a little bit in. But I think they are self-contained stories, kind of like Lupin the Third is. So I'm excited to try that out. I was told again and again to read it, so I'm going to do it finally. And on the One Piece journey, Berserk. I think I talked about it last time. I talked about reading. I caught up on Shaman King that's been released through this latest set of reprints. It had a lull for about 9 volumes, but it caught up, and it's damn good again. So I'm excited. It's only got like 7 more volumes to go. So I'm excited to finish that. Super stoked to lead a Battle Angel. Mars Chronicle Volume 8 is finally coming out. Been waiting like a year and a half for that, so I can continue Alita's story. Lita Battle Angel is one of the best explorations of what it means to be human that there's been. If you've ever heard the phrase, like, how many boards and how much of a ship can you replace and still call it the same ship? That's basically the idea he's exploring with people. It's so
Claremont used it a lot in his run of X-Men. I always thought it was used to control the pacing/beat of the story. But I always find it annoyingly done.
I'm thinking you're talking about thought balloons. Yeah. So Western comics are slower. So I don't like them as much recently. Like, some folks are really good at it. But in general, particularly older Western comics are exceedingly slow. They were very much trying to give a lot of writing bang for the buck. Which I think was just a fundamental disconnect between the medium of sequential art. I think it was. The other bit is most of these books I talk about are a writer-illustrator manifesting them, right? This one is the only one that I talked about today that is not just made by not one person. Most of these folks have assistants, but this actually has a creative team on it. Tetsuhara and Baranson. And they are a wonderful balance. They're a great writing team, and I never feel bogged down because the writer feels insecure about the art or the artist feels insecure about the writer. Claremont is beloved for X-Men, and I have not, as far as I'm aware, read any Chris Claremont, so I can't quite comment on his bit. If you're using that to control the pacing of a story, I think you're doing it wrong. The pacing will come naturally as you try and refine the work. I think a quicker pace is usually a more stable and direct way to get your story to the reader, through to the reader, right? but I'm not Chris Claremont. I am not anything close to that, right? So, another example, because I talked about like if you're using a narration device, you don't have to use thought bubbles as much. So that's what I do in Jack. I use a narration device. He's commenting on his past. Same thing with a lot of the Punisher, Garth Ennis' Punisher, which I'm a huge fan of, which is much slower than most of the manga I read. But in that case, the framing device is often the war journal or him thinking. But they don't present it as a thought bubble. It's more of a comment on what's going on. And you know it's a thought or it's how he's feeling at the moment, right? But it's not actually a thought bubble. It's usually a square narration box. So that's another way to handle it. And I think that Ennis handles it spectacularly in whatever he's doing. Sarah from TK Studios, wonderful World War II sniper story from the Russian perspective, a woman Russian sniper. Excellent story, beautifully paced, but again a bit slower than what I like to read, but beautifully done. We 3 barely has any writing. This is from Grant Morrison. Any writing because it explores 3 animals. It's kind of like Homeward Bound, cyberpunk Homeward Bound, and that doesn't really comment on how fucked up it gets. But it's one of the most heart-wrenching expressions I've ever read in sequential art. It is so heart-wrenching, and in that it's wonderful. It even has a slightly happy ending, but the whole journey is just heartbreaking. But it barely uses any writing. Barely. And the thought bubbles they do use is kind of like I've seen it used from the Iconic Comic guys in Black Hops, as well as where it's just like the animal is thinking, but it's just pictures of something. It's not actually words, right? Because they wouldn't use words, so it's just pictures, ideas of something. That's another way to use thought bubbles. Oda uses them a lot for puns. In One Piece, he'll have a character. You'll have multiple characters comment on the panel through their thoughts, and they're usually hilarious comments. That's a great way to use it as well. It's just another tool in the kit that if you can learn to use correctly, it can be a wonderful asset, but if you use it wrong, it can be a huge detriment. But I can't comment on Chris Claremont except for he is legendary for a reason, and I'm certain of it. I just don't know how much I'd enjoy his work, but I also haven't read it, so I don't know. I do not know. But there's a lot of different ways to use the concept of thought in a panel. And bubbles is one of the expressions, and it's one that's kind of been dying out for a while, but it is 100% a valid tool. Just use it right. Use it for something that will enhance your storytelling, right? That's all you can hope for. Okay. I guess then we're into the new gig. That kind of talked about the reading. Okay, so one sec. All right. You folks may have heard, you may not have heard. I am now the social media manager over at Wicked Publishing. It is my first consistent paying comic book gig, and I am super excited about it. I've been working with these folks for years. They've been releasing my work basically since it had any sort of notoriety. They're good folks. They're newbies. We've been learning and growing together for a while. And they have realized that they needed a little bit extra oomph to get the word out, to spread, and to just have an extra contact point for readers, fans, and creators to communicate with. And since I've been doing that for years, they put the call out for it, and I was like, well, I'm here. I'll put my hat in the ring. This is something I can do. And so I got the gig. Signed the first of what will probably be about 2 contracts to kind of nail this down. But this first one lasts for about a month, and I'm trying to feel out what the workload's going to be and see if it's, comparative to the pay rate, right? So far, so good. I've only been doing it 2 days, though. We'll see. But I think it's a really cool opportunity. I like I love all the creators under Wicked. They're very cool folks. Most of them are first-time creators. They're folks who definitely needed a platform that could give them guidance in a lot of different aspects of indie comic creation. And I'm excited to be promoting and engaging with my publisher on a more direct level. I'm very excited for it because there have been times where it has lacked, and now that blame's going to get to be on me, which is excellent. Now, because there won't be any blame, I'm pretty good at this. So, anywho, I'm super excited for that. Over the next month or so, I'm going to be trying out different ways. My first goal with them is to actually give them a brand identity. They have not really had one. So what I'm trying to do is lean into the fact that they work with first-time creators, and also the fact that what they try to do with their imagery has been a kind of science fiction-y, paranormal, alien vibe that they're going. So that's how I'm going to be marketing through them for a good chunk of time. See if that resonates with folks. And I'm excited for the new adventure. And I'm stoked for a new paycheck in doing comics. Again, it's first consistent paycheck doing comics, so I'm really excited for that. Yeah, we're just gonna keep trying that out for a while. Right now, it is primarily through Twitter that I handle, but I'll be handling a little bit of the email contacts and stuff like that as well. Hopefully, as they grow in confidence in what I can do, I will probably get a hold of a few other means, but also have to, again, see if the work is commensurate to the pay, because I know what indie comics can be, and it can be very time consuming with very little reward, and I don't need an extra layer on that on top of what I'm already doing. So we're gonna feel it out, but I'm super excited. I really am. I'm hoping I can bring some of my talent and skill and help them resonate with an audience a bit stronger than they've been able to over the last few years. So yeah, with that kind of covers everything. Well, I've been streaming for an hour, but I don't have, and I mean, if there's any other wonderful questions, I'm happy to answer. But otherwise, it might be, I'm almost done with the coffee. It'll last till I finish the coffee.
EX8 said, "Congrats."
Well, thank you. Again, I'm pretty stoked about this. It's very helpful as well, as long as the work doesn't build up too much. But it could be very, very helpful for me on the finance end as well, which is great. Oh, I can show you something. I don't know if Scott K's still here, but I can show you something. This is from The Recluse. Let me pull that on up. We added a new member to Team IronVerse Comics recently. Very stoked to have her. Where's the button? Oh, there's a button that'll turn off this loop. Again, like I said, I forgot how to do all this. There we go. So, The Recluse, you folks might have heard over the last couple months. It is a 5-page preview comic included with issue 4 of Jack Irons, The Steel Cowboy, alongside Cactus Coyote's 15-page Ash Can. Basically, it's a full bonus comic when they're put together. So, originally I had thought it was going to be a grayscale black and white comic. But Mr. Scott decided, you know what? I want to color this. And he connected with the wonderful B. Navarro, who people might know her work through BMR Comics and Demon Hunter Raven. She went and did a wonderful coloration of page 1 so far, and we're getting the whole thing colored. What I really enjoy is the fact that she kind of took parts of Jack's color palette. So it's got this similar, vibrant apocalypse to it, which I think is kind of one of the few things we do that kind of stands out over here at IronVerse Comics with our art design, is we have these brightly stunning, saturated visuals that contrast against, destruction, horror, all that fun stuff. And she nailed it. I think it's beautiful. I'm very, very proud to add her to our team and our repertoire, and I'm excited for folks to actually be able to check this out and read the full preview. It's a badass series, and I'm so very proud to work with Scott and his team on this. Just so cool. Just so cool. But that's the main new thing. Hopefully, I will have a page or two from Jack number 4, new page or two from Jack number 4 to show here in the next couple days. If I do, I'll probably stream. But otherwise, that kind of covers it. There hasn't been any major developments, sadly, because again, I've been just keeping my head down, getting my work done, doing a lot of study, and trying to really nail down what these next set of steps for myself on this journey is. And, been proud with the progress. Been proud with the progress. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I think it came out beautifully. Very, very cool stuff. There we go. Okie doke. Let's see. Yeah, I think that really does cover, because I don't remember if I've read anything else recently. I keep trying to crawl through some Simpsons comics I have. I was really hoping they'd be more. So I read Dan Slott's Ren and Stimpy comics from back in the day, like a good chunk of them. Wonderful pacing, hilarious. Like, they were exactly what I wanted out of a comedy funny book. And I like Ren and Stimpy. I'm not like super fan or anything, but like the comedy works. I like outlandish goofball humor. The Simpsons comics that I've been reading so far have been kind of meh. Like, I think a kid would get a lot more out of it. Like, I think they were very much directed at a child audience instead of just a general audience. Which is kind of, it makes sense. So that's some of the Western comics I've been reading. I've been crawling through it. Treehouse, a horror book that's been interesting. I mean, there's fun ideas, but like, it doesn't grip me. But, you know, what do you expect? I thought the Ren and Stimpy stuff would grip me. I'd finish it short and then be like, oh, that was fun. I'll read the next one. This one is like, I slogged through it. So it is what it is. Sometimes it's like just your mood diving into a work too, right? Sometimes you just ain't gonna resonate with it at that time. It's just not gonna happen. Yeah, I haven't watched anything that blew my mind recently. I feel like I did watch something. Yeah, let me look. I feel like I did watch something that was good. I'm just forgetting it because I'm forgetful. Oh, I did! So I watched the new Beavis and Butthead movie. It was a lot of fun. That's what I wanted out of it. I was very impressed. I didn't know how it was going to be. It's exactly what it needed to be. I was totally fine with it. Which gives me hope for the King of the Hill reboot. I like Mike Judge quite a bit. He's a local boy, which is kind of funny. He's one of the few folks from New Mexico to make any kind of fucking headway into pop culture. Oh, fuck. The funk. There it goes. Yeah, see, if I use the F word, sometimes that'll pop up. But it was good. It was just the stupid Beavis and Butthead I remembered. But with some modern commentary, which exactly what I wanted from, if you had saw the other Beavis and Butthead revival, back in, I don't know, it was either late 2000s or mid 2010s, where they were commenting on what MTV had become, which was no longer music. That was great. So it was just kind of a continuation moving that forward. It was really good. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Impressed, honestly, because I had no idea. Yeah, like that's like the only movie I've watched recently. Yeah. But yeah, I was impressed. I recommend it if you were a Beavis and Butthead fan. It's just more Beavis and Butthead in a way that is, you know, decent, not in a oh god, it's more of this. It's what it needed to be. I was very impressed. That's kind of the catch-up there, folks. Basically anything I talked about today. Just depends on what you're looking for. For me, I approach most of my reading as trying to learn because that's, you know, the business I'm in. If you're just a reader, you might get different things out of these works than I have. Most of these I'm gonna have to read multiple times to even get like a solid grasp on techniques. But I'm figuring out some things. One of the things that's basically a line, and I talked about it earlier, between all the manga I've read, is it is between 3 and 6 panels, like about 66% of the time, and then the rest of the time is either full page spreads, double page spreads, or compilation shots for whatever reason they wanted to have that staccato feel for a page. There was a great sequence in Berserk I read yesterday where it was a double page spread followed by a double page spread. That was just action and action, these big forceful moments. Very rare you see that in comics, but he pulled it off beautifully. It was like half of the action was done in one big double page spread. He just smashed these things, and then the finishing of it was the next one. It was just excellent. It was great for the pacing. It was just pulled off perfectly. But like, does not happen like almost ever. So it's a technique I'd love to see pulled off like that again. In fact, I think you could do a whole comic that is just double page spread, double page spread, double page spread, double page spread. But it would be like a picture book, right? But I think it could be really compelling if you do that, and it's like a short comic. It's like 12 pages or whatever, so it would be like 6 double page spreads and just showing a very quick action, and so you're just expressing an action in high detail, slide. I think that would be really cool, but it also would be very profitable. Like, I don't think it would be super engaging, but I think it would be a really cool expression and a very unique approach to storytelling for this, where you'd only be telling I don't know, maybe 3 seconds of a story between those pages, but it would be so high detailed and so direct. It could be really cool. But yeah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I'm certainly not gonna try. Yeah, I guess that does it. Not much else I could do. I mean, I could throw on a game and hang with some folks, but like, I haven't been doing much of that either. Let me get back to this person and drop this off, and then I'll feel out what we're doing next, if anything. Go here. To go here. To go skip track. To go here. Or the one. Where did I put that finished page? Oh, it might be in this one. Yeah. Go 1 second. It's not very loud, but that's on my end. Might be good balanced for you folks. Balanced well for you folks. Let's see. It also needs... Oh, wrong folder. That would do it. We've gotten a few more animations in. I'm thinking after this month I'd like to do a new trailer. That's the other thing. New IronVerse Comics overall trailer, because the most animations we've gotten in recently are actually Cactus Coyote animations, which are really fun. Okay, where is this? Is it only in downloads? Are you kidding me, Cody? Did you not ever move it? Doesn't look like I did. I'm a fool. Didn't find it. Oh, there's a lot of stuff I can delete too in there. Give me a second. Let me find. Come on now. I'm lost in my own filing system. That's always good to hear, isn't it? did that. Yeah, I don't know, folks. Oh, well, the mic wasn't muted at least. I don't know how that turned on, but the mic wasn't muted. I'll take it. Was the mic muted earlier? Is the question. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Gotta need desktop out of it. No, it wasn't muted. Good. Good. Okay. Well, by now, I've probably been streaming for about... I might do it. I'd like to come back and do like a gaming stream or something just to hang out with you folks again. But we'll see how I am later on. I have missed you folks. Tell you that much. Been a bit though. Try and change that here soon. But for now, I'd like to do a drawing stream more than a gaming stream later. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But then, thank you folks as always for joining me. I don't remember if I already showed you, but I'm trying to bring more attention to chat by making it look like that. Look like it's projected a little bit. If that's annoying, let me know. Because I think I'm doing it on like all. This one? No. It must be up here. Yep. I guess the drawing one. Of course, this is the last thing I drew was Zerg. That was a fun stream. So yeah, I don't know. Be feeling it out as we go, but I don't know. I keep trying to up the production value here. I think you don't need as much of me. That's why, I show these guys, that guys, those creatures down there, all that. Got the flashing on air sign, right? Try and give some flavor and some branding to this. It's fun for me. I don't know, folks. As always, let me know what you think. But, yeah, I'm just stalling this one. Alright, folks, you take care. And I'll catch you next time on IronVerse Comics. The music volume, sadly, is not consistent. You are very correct on that. It's different tracks, right? Like this track's pretty damn quiet, and I just lowered it a little bit. And so then the last track though was super loud. I wish, so what I need to do, and it can be done, is I would need to put them into a conversion program to normalize the audio. Let me see if there's a normalization like filter I could run through on this. Compressor, expander, gain, limiter, noise gate, maybe a limiter. No, because it wouldn't raise the thing, would only limit it from being too loud. Yeah, no, someone will have to. I bet there is a plugin for OBS to normalize audio. I ain't got it right now. But that's good to know. I appreciate that because
EX8 said to remove a character or not. I have a character that I'm struggling with. Should I remove it altogether and replace him with another?
Depends. Really, I don't know the context, right? Basically, any. It depends what you're doing. So, I'm not the biggest fan of massive casts. One Piece is a huge exception for me. I fucking adore that, and it has so many characters. But in my opinion, if you can lower cast and we get more time with each individual and get to know them and hopefully like them or dislike them depending on what you're going for, more. But I don't. If you're having a problem with them and you don't enjoy them, do not force them into your story because likely your readers won't like or enjoy it either. That's like my first thing I'd say. Now, whether or not you need to replace him, sure, but if the character needs to fulfill the same role, how different of a character could that character be? I don't know. Again, I don't know the context. Could be very, very different. Could be the same. I don't know what the character's goal and purpose within your story is. But that's what I'd say is if you're not enjoying the character, you're not enjoying writing the character, then it's likely your readers won't either. And that's about the best I can say.
EX8
Whether or not to remove it, that's kind of up to you.
Replace him with one already in the story.
Well, if you can remove characters, then usually that means that the character was superfluous. If he can be removed and replaced with somebody else already in there, it likely means they weren't necessary. But again, I need to know context, right? Like, what if replacing that character with one that's already in there then changes what that character that's already in there is accomplishing, so much so that character is no longer as defined or as decent, right? Like, again, it's a lot of context. That's why I recommend editors. That should be one of their jobs, to help you figure that out, because then they'll actually know what you're doing. From where I am, right, I can just say generally, if you're not enjoying something, the reader likely won't either. And that's just in general. Like, if you're not enjoying a plot device or you don't feel like your heart's in it, it could be a very awful thing, right? But your heart's in it, you have a reason.
EX8
you're making it,
said,
you like it.
I agree.
So that's the bit. That's the bit I would say is generally, as a reader, I can tell when someone's forcing something to happen in their story and not really like naturally feeling and enjoying and expressing their story, if you know what I mean. And so, yeah, if you're struggling with a character, you feel like you can remove them, you have another character that can do the same job already. From just that knowledge, and there's probably a lot I don't know, I would say, yeah, I would cut their ass. But again, I don't have all the information for me to definitively say, yes, cut them. I don't know. But from those red flags, for me, generally, that's what I look towards. Again, in general, it's not going to serve, there's no one-size-fits-all tips within most creation. It doesn't work that way. There's a few, like, I recommend using language, right? Like, using language to present your story in some form, whether that is, well, not even language,
Neostar Productions
right.
said, the brilliant star that shines through the night, the hot grease that deep fries evil. Reserman stands before you, hand giving peace sign, smiling face with sunglasses.
I know you folks were looking for hot grease. Well, it's here now. Neostar, welcome. I was trying to close out, but I'm getting some excellent questions from EX8, so I'm hanging a little bit longer. We covered what I've been reading, kind of why I took a long break. We covered my new gig as social media manager over at Wicked Publishing. We covered some general writing kind of talking stuff, which was good. We talked a lot about what I am trying to learn by reading so much. Again, I've probably gone through at least 100. Yeah, One Piece is pretty short. Through chapters, I think I'm like 200 chapters into One Piece. So I don't know if I want to talk volumes. If I'm in volumes, I've read a couple. I've read about 150 volumes of manga over the last month. If we're talking chapters, I've probably read, I don't know, 750 to 1,000 chapters in manga. Learning, studying, trying to figure out what is working for me and why, so I can integrate and express in my own personal way that amazing craftsmanship. But yeah, that's what we were doing. Not much. Then we were kind of slowing down to a closeout. But I'm in no rush. I don't have to close out. I just like, without questions or other content, I'm just kind of stalling. Oh, that's good limeade. You wouldn't think limeade and coffee work, but they don't. They don't work well together, but I need my sugar and I need my caffeine. But yeah, thanks everybody for stopping in as always. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been here. I did do a very cool interview with Armin Nassim. It's about the third time I plugged it, I guess, on Submarine Treehouse. Met some wonderfully cool creators and just chatted about comics. Had a wonderful time. I very much recommend checking out that interview. Neostar, I believe you're on our Patreon, so it's linked there if you'd want. It's the one with the wolf as the picture is what he decided to call it afterwards. It's kind of funny. Kind of diminishes the other panelists because it mentions me primarily, but it is what it is. But very cool cats. Some very cool creators I was very happy to connect with. Very neat independent comic stuff on that one. But yeah, we didn't have a stream last week. Besides that. But this is a little loud, isn't it? Let me look. Yeah, let's down a little bit. See, I feel like that's too quiet. It's very hard to find the balance because these tracks are they're not normalized. I guess I could run them through conversion software so that they're all normalized. It's just one of the little things to craftsmanship, to improve the branding and the performance angle of my work, which I'm not the biggest, loudest, most charismatic individual on the internet, but I enjoy being here. I enjoy this work, and one of the best ways to show that you enjoy something is to continuously work to improve at it and to well, actually, that's about it. Just continue to learn and work to improve at it, and then show it. Of course, don't just sit there and learn and then not integrate it and apply it, right? Super stoked for this. Super stoked. I can't even I can't even communicate how stoked I am for this. Battle Angel Alita has been consistently one of my favorite series of all time. Again, if I had to sum it up, it's that quote of how many boards in the ship can you replace before it's a new ship, but applied to humanity, ideas, thought, existence, reality. With a very cool, beautifully drawn martial arts like veneer. Martial arts and cyberpunk veneer. So good. This is volume 8 to the prequel series Mars Chronicle, which has been good. Best Fantasy Illustrator.
Said. Best Fantasy Illustrator.
Oh, that's a rough one. So we're talking East, West. If we're talking overall, that's really tough. If we define best and you're going for like most skilled, it depends on what kind of art you like. If we're talking about like pages put out, if we're talking about sequentials, if we're talking about sequential art, let's just say we're talking about comics or sequential artistry, Kentaro Miura, no competition for me. But you have to like dark fantasy. As for many others, right? If you like the art direction in any of the Souls, like in any of the From Software Souls games, like it's Kentaro Miura was like what they are ripping off of. But Miura he's first one. If you're talking about like paintings and covers, I am a huge fan of Frank Frazetta.
EX8 said, "Your taste is a lot different than mine. Curious because I'm trying to go the old school Arthur Rackham."
Arthur Rackham, let me lie, I'm not familiar with that name. Frank Frazetta is incredible. It depends on what you're going for. If you're going for sequential art, is kind of different for me than like contemporary Western ones. I really like Liam Sharp. He's just releasing kind of a sci-fi fantasy called Starhenge, and his work's always just wonderful as well. God. Oh, I see. Okay. Ooh, I like his work. Was not familiar with his name, but oh, he's wonderful. Look at this. Was not familiar with this individual. Thank you for putting me on to him. That's his grave, but then there's some more like it's very classic fairy tale folk tale style, and it's very cool, very cool. Ah, it's beautiful. It reminds me of here's another one I really like. I'm a Magic Gathering player, right? Off and on, not so much recently, but for a long time I have been, and they consistently get some of the best fantasy artists on earth. I want to show you, and I think she was recently kind of, we're not towing the line. She was recently got, did you sign up mentorships? No, I want your art. I guess I can just go to images then. I really like Rebecca Goye. And it reminds me of the Rackham individual you just shared. She's got that playful style to her work as well. That's kind of light, watercolory. Like, I'm a big fan of her work. I'm a big fan of her work. But again, Frazetta is one of the staples, right? Wrightson is a straight Bernie Wrightson, right? He's another big staple. But like out of MTG, her work always stood out very much to me because it wasn't the hyper realism a lot of these artists go for. Oh God, what's that guy's name? There's another one I like quite a bit. I'm doing this guy.
Said. Interesting.
Karl Kapinski. That's who I was looking for. He's another one I really like from MTG. Oh, he did a Hellboy? Oh, that's dope. I'm going to have to check that out. Karl Kapinski I like quite a lot. He does this painting, painterly style. Big fan of his. Yeah, he did a Hellboy. I have to check that out. Old man Hellboy. Looks like a Viking Hellboy. Like, I really like his work quite a bit too. Yeah, but Bernie Wrightson, Frank Frazetta, William Sharp, Kapinski, Rebecca Goye. There's quite a few I really enjoy. Kapinski actually is more of a. He started off doing war scenes, like classical era looking war scenes. Then he transferred over to fantasy art in MTG, and that's where he made his money. There's a Batman from him, right? Like, very, very, very cool talent, Kapinski. Yeah, see, this is the work like that he started off with, is this kind of stuff. The hyperrealism, painting, kind of portrait kind of stuff. But then he transferred over to fantasy illustration. I don't think he's ever looked back. But I'm a big fan of his as well. But yeah, best ever, I think, is, art's always subjective. There are people who are going to love some things and not love others. Like, I can always happy to share the work that brought me into comics, and it was art that brought me into comics. The writing of the story, like, got me interested in comics, but it was the art that was like, oh, this is what I want to work with, and this is, oh God, oh yeah, Clayton Crane. This is the work that got me into comics when I was like 15, 16. It's Clayton Crane's work. Just, particularly on Ghost Rider, right? But this is half of a double page spread even. It's not even the full spread. The back half's over here. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Though I love that image. I don't need to save it. Like, yeah, this is the artwork that got me, like, this is why I make comics. It's this artwork. he hasn't made comics in a very long time. I don't think. Like he's done a couple covers, but like he hasn't done sequential art for ever. I think he works mainly in game design now, or yeah, concept art, right? Oh, man. Yeah, I adore his work, man. I am just like this is the artist got me into him.
Said.
So good.
Nice.
It's so good. He does better when there's like flames and like crazy stuff going on. Like if you try to ground his work, I don't think it's as good. It's got to have some of this mysticism and insanity to it. Because like this is fine, like it's cool, but it's nothing like those Ghost Rider covers or even this Venom cover. Like it's nothing of that. Was that him too? Yeah, like when you ground his work, it's fine. Like that's good. But like it's nothing compared to that Ghost Rider work, right? At least in my opinion. Like here's Carnage. Like fucking cool. Not grounded, smashing shit up. So yeah, anyway, Clayton Crane is the artist that got me to fall in love with comics. Like it's not even like a contest. He was one of the original pioneers of digital coloring. Like full digital process in comics that I came across. Sam Keith, oh, I fucking love Sam Keith, and why I love Sam Keith is the same reason a lot of people love Sam Keith.
EX8 said, Sam Keith was pretty crazy.
Sam Keith layouts.
EX8 said, his Wolverine art was epic.
Yes, but I want to show you. I was gonna buy. Let me show you Epicurus the Sage. The Sage, Sam Keith, because he does something that a lot of artists do not do. Give me a page though. That's a good page. It's actually a really good page. But of course the Max. Fucking love the Max, but that doesn't show it. I want to show you. He was page, and we'll see. That kind of shows it, but it doesn't show it enough. You can see it if you read The Sandman, the first couple issues he did of The Sandman as well. Before Neil Gaiman's like, what the fuck are you doing with my book? And he's like, this is how I create. And that lasted about 3 issues. And they're like, nope. It's not showing it. That kind of shows it too. He loves curved panels. So this is like hyper detail. He could do some really fun hyper detail stuff. He loves, yeah, this shows it too. He loves curved panels. Nobody uses circles as paneling because it goes against the natural shape of the page. But Keith, he always finds a way to do an excellent curved panel. Just again and again and again, and I'm just like always blown away by his layouts. People talk about, like you said, his Wolverine covers and the hyper detail he does. Because he does crazy hyper detail on his work. Like musculature, all that kind of stuff, right? Hairs, he'll do thousands of individual hairs on an arm for like Wolverine and that kind of stuff. Or his outlandish faces. Oh, that's tiny. That kind of stuff. Like he does some really, really cool, like just direct art. But the thing that's always stood out for me that I never hear anybody else talk about, but I'm you know, I don't talk about comics to other people too often, is his layouts. Again, I wish I could show you another one that's unique, but he loves those circle panels and just, well, okay, this kind of, you can see it, unconventional layouts. Look at that. Like, it's just interesting. And then curves, not straight lines. He loves curves. He loves he draws really sexy ladies with curves. He draws big dudes with muscle curves, right? He loves curves, and it bleeds into his layouts too. And oh man, Sam Keith is my favorite artist when it comes to layouts. Like no question. Even something simple like that. Look, he put a curve in there just because he wanted to.
Said. Yet, his pages were all a piece of art.
Yep. Oh, 100%. Also, if you haven't read Epicurus Sage, I totally recommend it. It's a very fun story. There's little Alexander. Yes, Alexander the Great. There's Plato. Super cartoony, kind of Popeye style too at the beginning there that they were going for, even with like the eyes and stuff. His big jagged noses. He loves deformed human expression for characters. In that way, he reminds me a lot of Oda, or Oda reminds me a lot of Sam Keith, because again, he puts so much expression into his character designs. But yeah, totally. They don't talk. People love his work, and I'm so glad they do. But it's that curved paneling that's always stood out to me. His layouts, always interesting. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Sam Keith. Huge fan. Even the stories he was able to eventually tackle. Very well chosen. He didn't want to make a superhero book. He got an opportunity to make a superhero book, so he made a psychological exploration piece
EX8
wearing spandex.
Said, LOL, I'll have to look for Epicurus the Sage.
Yeah. It's his, what was for a long time, even with the Max, his writing partner. With the Max, it was his writing partner. With Epicurus, it was the writer. His longtime kind of collaborative partner, I guess is the best way to put it. I forgot his name right now, but that Epicurus was his work. But it's based on old Greek folk tales. They meet and talk with Homer as he's trying to tell them about the Odyssey and that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a fun journey. A lot of sexy work in that. It's definitely an adult comic, even though it can sometimes be drawn more kiddie, right? Just because that's his style, is that cartoon look. Very cool stuff. He mainly was a cover artist, which was sad in some ways and not in others, because it was easier on him. He worked till I think he still is, till his hand and wrist just went out. It was that hyper detail he's known for basically killed his career, besides the fact that the Max and what happened with the Max behind the scenes on the business end just like killed his inside. And he always had like a imposter syndrome complex, right? He always felt like he was never good enough to be there, that other people always propping him up, and he always owed other people for his success and all that. Very sad story. Jerk Comic on YouTube. Very cool channel. He did an amazing 4-part, 8-hour series on how the Max broke Sam Keith. I very much recommend watching that. Very well told and super sad story for a very killer creator. And it's a good cautionary tale also to keep your perspective on your work, because his was just never really there. Never really had a great perspective on it. The Max he loved, but then it was kind of taken from him. Then he got it back, but it was a long fight. It's just he had a very rough career, and it's really cool we got as much as we did.
EX8 said, that sucks.
Yeah, it does. But again, I totally recommend watching that. It's a great, I think it was 4-part series. And again, I think it's 6 to 8 hours. But it's very well edited, very well told. He did another sequel on Scud, if you're not familiar with Scud, which is another amazing independent comic that just breaks the mold, just like the Max breaks the mold. I love those kind of creators who jump into the medium and show that not everything's been done. I'm always a big fan of that. I've tried myself, but I think I'm still a little too traditional compared to what these folks are able to accomplish. But we'll see. I got time. Hopefully. But yeah, Sam Keith, wonderful creator. I'm always happy when people bring him up, because he deserves every bit of success and more. And I just hope he finds peace with his work, because it sounds like he's had a very interesting relationship with his work and his art. I guess I should plug this once, since it's been weeks. If you don't know, I'm running an Indiegogo campaign. No, I have been. This is running in demand. So this is, the pre-orders are still open until production finishes and we go to print. This is issues 1 through 4 of Jack Iron Steel Cowboy, primarily to fund issue 4. We are successfully funded, so we're running in demand. Hallelujah. Production is currently ongoing. In fact, Here are the first 8 pages real quick of line art, which tells the first quarter of the story of issue number 4. Yeah, super excited. Hopefully it's our best effort yet. So far on the artistry, it certainly is. I hope my storytelling lives up to it. Can't wait to get it out to folks. Get this, you can get the preview to issue. You can get the preview to 2 of our other series alongside it digitally. Cactus Coyote, 15-page ash can. Beautiful, fun storytelling of a alien shape-shifting smuggler, which is really cool. And then The Recluse, which is kind of a post-apocalyptic Robin Hood. Totally recommend checking out our work, as I should. If you're curious, if you haven't read Jack Iron Steel Cowboy, you can read it for free on Global
EX8
Comics, issue number
said.
1.
Sweet.
And most of issue number 2 are free on Global Comics. We've got quite a few page views and a lot of pretty good success for a small comic here. We actually have outpunched Top Cow, Heavy Metal, AWA, and quite a few others in the science fiction category over on Global Comics with our little immortal cowboy story. So check it on out if you haven't yet. I always love to hear people's thoughts and opinions, ideas, speculation, all that fun stuff with our work. Means the world to me. Anybody checks out this goofy idea of mine from when I was a teenager. It means the world. It really does. It's why I'm here. It's why I'm even here talking. So, link in chat for the free read, and then link in chat for issues 1 through 4 if you want to check that out. Still limited numbers of issues 1 through 3. Once they're out, though, they're gone. Not sure when another reprint will happen, so if you want to snag them, now's the time. Yeah, alright, cool, did that. Haven't done that for a while. I don't even think I pitched my work much on that other stream I did last week. Which is kind of dumb. Once the community has done what they have done for the last 2 campaigns and just rallied like crazy to make sure we get funded, I always feel a little guilty continuing to push it hard, but at the end of the day, it's also kind of what should be being done. So there it is. Ooh, that's nice. I like that. Okay. Who is this? Okay. Yep, I guess that covers it. Unless there's any more questions. We actually almost went an hour more than I thought we were gonna, so that's fine. End it in the next couple minutes, or I can go another 20, then I'll call it. But appreciate you folks for hanging out. Crazy, crazy. Our wonderful robot just put the link to our website in chat if you want to check out. Basically, the things I just put into chat are also on the website, as well as all of our contact, our Discord, all of that fun stuff under the contact tab on our website, IronVerseComics.com. You can also support us via our merch, which is always super appreciated. It helps keep the website up, helps keep us funded and moving forward in this very turbulent sea we call independent comics creation. All right. Checking. Nothing more to show you.
EX8 said, "Good stuff, Cody. Thanks."
You're very welcome. Very, very welcome. Thank you for taking the time. You asked some wonderful questions. Kept this stream relatively on track. Very much appreciated.
EX8 said, "I gotta take off too."
Right on. Well, you have a good one, brother. Take care, and I'll catch you later on down the line somewhere, I bet. Adios. All right, folks. Boom, boom, boom.
EX8 said, "Take care."
Will do. Will do. All right, I guess with that, I think I'm out as well. Thank you folks for joining me. As always, we just talked about where to get a hold of us, so please do. And yeah, I will catch you folks. I would like to do another one today. We'll see how I feel. If I do, it won't be a casual chatting one like this. It'll either be a drawing stream where I either am doing just a catch up, just trying to keep any kind of skill growing, or I'll try one of the sketch cards, which still spooks the hell out of me. But I got to rip that band-aid off at some point, and then it'll get easier. Or if I'm feeling particularly like lethargic or whatever, I'll try a gaming stream. But we'll see. Anywho, folks, adios. Catch you on that rusty IronVerse Comics trail, and just stay awesome and stay indie. Not here. Here. Oh. All right, there you go, folks. All right, take care.